what's his face still had like the lamb gas mask on. It's not even like they're doing anything different. They're just like they have hammers now.
Now they just worship hammers in the woods.
Yeah, they're hammer people. They're like them Koopas.
They're like yeah.
I fucking hate this.
It's fine. Welcome to the Kayfabe Club.
Well, what if Neville comes back, is billed from Rivendell, and then teams up with the Bludgeon Brothers as a sort of Lord of the Rings gimmick? Would you like it then?
Only if Rowan just braids that awful, awful beard he has.
It's a hobo beard.
At least trim it
So
it fits under the mask. You
Yeah,
fuck.
he has a hobo beard for sure.
I don't know. I don't mind the hobo beard. It probably smells awful.
Oh, there's no way it doesn't smell awful.
Like just a nasty ass beard. Coincidentally, stay tuned for fantasy booking later when I book Eric Rowan as Assbeard the Pirate.
I'd watch that movie.
Right?
I mean, I'm more likely to watch that movie than I am to watch the movie that Luke Harper made.
Oh.
That's fair. That's fair.
The one that followed TLC on the USA Network.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I'm really trying hard not to fantasy book a tandem team of Assbeard the Pirate and Kairi Sane. just mixed gender tag teams taking on the entire roster.
All right, so we got a lot of big stuff. It's been we had 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Before we get into the rundown of them, who wore it better? War Games or Survivor Series?
For me, it was War Games by far.
Yeah, I know. It's barely even a question.
Yeah, I think it was War Games, just based on the fact that Survivor Series was about 3 hours too long.
Yeah, and it was only 3 hours and 46 minutes. So if you whittle Survivor Series down to 46 minutes, you have a great episode of 205 Live.
I'm trying to think of all the matches off the top of my head. So we had Cassius Ohno against
Lars Sullivan.
Against Lars Sullivan, opening up War Games.
Yep.
Probably the shortest match of the card.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like 10 minutes.
I think Cassius Ohno's opener, or like his entrance, was longer than the actual match.
Yeah, I mean, they let Cassius have the full entrance there, so yeah.
They were like, we know that you deserve everything that you have, but you're not going to get it this time.
Sorry. We're feeding you to Lars.
Yeah.
Cassius's offense was elbows and
yeah,
I didn't see anything else. It was a bunch of elbows, and then Lars Sullivan laughed a bunch and like kind of did that like thing that he does. He's got terrible teeth.
Oh, they're real big. They're real big.
And then he lost, and I was just like, okay, well that's about what I expected.
Morrow had a great line. He said that Lars was a Jack Kirby villain come to life, and that you should marvel at him, which is just one of Morrow's many pop culture references, but it was super appropriate, I think, in this case.
Literally the most accurate thing that had been said the entire weekend.
Right? But, I mean, it was a fine match for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was a better squash match than most squash matches.
Oh, yeah. Both guys look good coming out of it. Lars looks like a fucking monster. And, Cassius's arm-trapped stomps to Lars's head look nasty. Just nasty.
Yeah. What was up next after that?
Aleister Black.
Yeah.
It was best match of the night.
It was a great match.
Was that the match of the weekend?
I think from a purely psychological, ring psychology standpoint, without question.
Everything that wrestling is, including gimmicks and, like you said, ring psychology and athleticism, I think that was all on display here. Whereas other matches, both on the Survivor Series card and here, had some of it, or there were gimmicks that involved it that kind of stopped spots, or it was kind of hokey throughout. But
Sure.
This one, because it was just a singles match, it just fucking ran the whole time.
I can't see, because they told a great story.
Oh yeah.
I cannot see how that might or how that wouldn't have been the match of the week.
No, it absolutely was.
Because I mean,
without question.
You've said so yourself that War Games was the pay-per-view to watch, despite the fact that there were like 3 of them total.
Yeah. You had War Games this weekend. You had Survivor Series this weekend, and you had New Japan did the first night of the World Tag League this weekend. And by far, War Games blew everything out of the water.
Right, which I guess by the math would be out that if Black and the Velveteen Dream was the best match of that show, that would technically make it the best match of the week.
I mean, you could say the War Games match, which we'll get to, it was the best match, but I mean, it was fantastic. It was fun, but I just like
it didn't have
everything that like
much of the psychology.
Yeah, everything that is wrestling, I think was really on display there. Like if you want to show somebody something, it's just like crazy characters, awesome athleticism. There was a lot of great technical wrestling.
Absolutely.
Throughout, just a lot of holds and stops. But it didn't feel like it was jarring or disjointed throughout. It was perfectly paced. Aleister Black is fantastic. Velveteen Dream is a young kid who did great with a nothing gimmick, and it's just.
You've got to appreciate the fact that, I mean, you know, with Aleister Black, you've got a guy who wrestled as Tommy End for 10 years on the independent scene. But then you've got Velveteen Dream, who is literally 2 years into his professional wrestling career. And they, you know, you've got sort of, you know, ring-worn talent and then brand new talent. And they just blew it out of the park.
Yeah,
I mean, just phenomenal. The whole way through,
exuding charisma, like both of them. I think they're both like. Hopefully, Velveteen Dream is able to continue this momentum into other things. I mean, Aleister Black is just like sky's the limit as far as him. I see as far as
good
potential. But yeah, I mean, if Velveteen Dream can continue this on forward, like I think he's gonna have a good career too.
You're definitely looking at
assuming booking is,
assuming booking is on his side, but. I mean, you know, like I said last week, you had basically 2017 Undertaker versus 2017 Goldust. I mean, people forget that Goldust is still around and can still go, and for all of his sort of misuse, I mean, he was a big mid-card player for a long time.
Right. Intercontinental champion at one point.
Yep.
Multiple tag team reigns.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, the fantasy booking that was going on Reddit is Velveteen Dream versus Goldust.
Yeah, as a career match for Takeover at Mania. Yeah, I'd watch it happily.
They followed that up with the women's division Fatal 4-Way.
Yep.
That match was for sure a spot fest.
Absolutely. But it was still good.
Thackeray?
I didn't want Ember Moon to win, but that's mainly because I wanted her to continue to like barely just get it, just like claw and scratch it.
You wanted her to
for some reason not be able to reach that pinnacle, have people pass her by, people that have been doing it or have been in NXT not as long, just for whatever reason she can't seem to break that fucking ceiling, and then have her break the ceiling in the most spectacular way. But I mean, they gave her the championship, she deserved it. She had a good moment with Asuka afterwards, and I don't know.
The moment with Asuka was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Of like, and it's probably the second time or the first time that it happened over the weekend of just two former competitors who with a mutual respect who have just gone to war with each other before.
Right.
And just acknowledging each other's greatness.
Sure. And it just that whole match though was just, even though it was a spot fest, I mean it wasn't just jumping from spot to spot to spot. They did flow into one another. And I just want to acknowledge the really great Tower of Doom spot.
The Tower of Doom was fantastic.
Peyton Royce back German suplexes Ember Moon, who is vertical suplexing Kairi Sane.
It was like, you call this the super duper plex, I think is what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And there were actually a couple different spots like that throughout. NXT had another one where it was like similar, and then the Shield had a similar one, and then I think there was another one during a different.
I think 4 Tower of Doom spots in one weekend.
So that was pretty fucking awesome.
The closer of the match was Ember Moon's double eclipse.
Yeah.
And I literally was out of my chair at that spot.
I completely understand.
I could not sit down at that point. It was incredible.
It was a great.
It's probably.
I feel bad for you then, because you definitely had to sit. You had to stand through 2 matches after that because you couldn't sit.
Oh, I got some shaky legged towards the end there.
Bend your knees. Don't pass out, man.
Full Kurt Angle.
Yeah. The next match I did not expect to like, and I was kind of wrong.
Okay.
Because they did the men's championship match after that. There's only 5 matches on this card.
Yep.
Less
which
is
was
more.
a perfect.
Absolutely.
It was perfectly paced. Every match was as long as it needed to be. Not a minute too much. Not a minute too soon.
Right.
This one, we're all pretty sure that it ended in a botch, right?
Yeah. Fair. I would be willing to bet. It looked like Drew. Well, the word going around is Drew tore his bicep.
They're saying he could be out like 8 months.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, I looked at it and I was like, this doesn't seem right, but I didn't know what it was, and then I was like, oh, he's injured, so I guess they like just kind of like spot called it, like, hey, like do this thing, and then we're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
You can see when Almas hits the hammerlock off the top rope, like Drew's arm just falls funny, and you can hear him yell "fuck."
You can't really hear them because they didn't. Or they did a pretty good job at bleeping.
You can't hear them now,
things, but it muted it.
Yeah, but there's a good live shot from the crowd where you just hear he fucking yells, and it took the ref probably 20 seconds to even like check on Almas like after the match. Like it usually doesn't take that long to get the announcement, so it definitely seemed like a botch. But I think this match was also better than it had any right to be, given the lead up to it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Very, very tentatively.
I was watching it and I was like, oh, so like, apart from the gimmick where they're just, I don't know, guy who doesn't know English supposedly, it's just like, I want a title match.
He doesn't know English.
That is really the basis for this title match, is that he wanted a title match.
Right.
But it was well wrestled.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was good.
Both guys are really talented. Drew, I mean, it's funny because you don't get monster face versus tiny heel.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting dynamic. Also,
his manager. I want to say manager, valet. I don't
Sure.
really know what they're called.
Manager
anymore.
is the right.
Yeah.
Manager. Yeah. I mean, she's like.
Because she's too much of a mouthpiece to be a valet.
Sure.
Yes, I mean she had a good spot there during that, and I mean she's getting heat for him too.
Absolutely.
And I was like, okay, I could.
That the head scissors like sort of face slam into the mat was great.
Yeah, she like ran in, head scissors him, and like slid out, and I was like, shit, that was fast.
Yeah, fucking fast.
It was fantastic.
And then we finished it off with War Games,
So
which was.
This actually went differently than I thought it would.
Did it?
Yeah, because I thought the authors would be in last and they would
Same.
clean up, because I thought they wouldn't have the stamina to really go.
Right.
But the fact that they let Sanity in last, I thought actually helped, because they were the ones that were gonna actually bring the pain. Like those are the ones that were
Right.
gonna go fucking crazy. And
Oh my God.
I was
And
watching this with somebody.
Oh boy, did they!
Yeah, I was watching this with somebody who wasn't like WWE initiated, and they were just like, "So what's their gimmick?" And I was like, "They're just fucking crazy people."
Yep.
And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Look at his pants. You see the other guys' pants? Like they match, and like they look like they're like like know what colors are. These guys don't know what's going
match
on
for
You
shit.
were
Like-
hanging out with Nina.
Yeah.
I was watching it with Mercedes.
And I was like, these
and
are just
she
crazy
was like,
people.
Why is he going in and out of the ring with tables? I'm like, he's not. He's actually going up to the ring, sliding them in, then getting more, because if he would have gone in and
gone
left,
in and out, yeah.
he would have lost.
This match was a fucking showcase.
Yeah, this was definitely old school wrestling, or especially old school WCW wrestling at its finest.
Oh
There
my
was
God.
there was
Of
some
just-
color too.
Oh,
two
shit.
different parts where both 2 members of Sanity actually got split.
Yep.
And I think both of them were
One
on
of them
accident.
got split, I think, or
Yeah,
one of them definitely got split by accident because he got split falling off of the table.
Wolf
Yeah.
did. That was definitely not on purpose. But man,
The other one I
kudos
thought
to him
had a
for
broken
continuing
nose.
it.
Yeah, like I saw because they did a pan over on the table and
Yeah.
I saw blood and I was like, that's a lot of blood. And I was trying to figure out who through the rest of the match had it until he finally, like the last like 3 minutes, he goes over to like the left hand side of the ring.
Right.
And I'm like, oh shit, it's him.
And you can just see him sort of clutching. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it was nasty.
Now, I'm terrible at names, so
Oh.
forgive me on this,
Sure.
but that fucking coast to coast,
Killian.
So
Killian Graves,
Yeah.
Killian Dane.
Killian Dane, stole the Shane move.
And it was, if you go back and you watch it like slowly, it's perfect. So you've got Kyle O'Reilly. He is bent, like he's tucked in the corner. He's got the garbage can over him. Killian Dane climbs up on the other side, and Adam Cole is on top of the cage.
Yeah, he's just
and for a brief second, Killian Dane like, taps Adam Cole, who is like half passed out on top of the cage, and you can see him say, "Look at this." And then
he points.
Yeah, he points and then jumps much farther than you would think Killian Dane is capable of jumping. Full on coast to coast. Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Not to mention the double, what was it, double like power bomb spot with that left the only person that was sitting there, Adam Cole, just in the ring, and he just kind of like leaves his hands out and just everybody starts screaming. I'm just like, fucking Adam Cole.
Adam Cole is, for his third match at NXT, he's already so over, and it's great.
Yeah, it took him 0 time.
He's the perfect shit heel.
Like I didn't want them to win just because I immediately did not like Adam Cole.
Right.
Oh, I immediately bought an Undisputed Era shirt.
Right? They're so good.
I was like, and bye.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that like I think he's bad.
Right.
I'm saying that he is great at what he does.
Oh, absolutely.
And he makes me hate him.
I'm the guy that roots for the heels.
Same.
So.
Oh, I normally root for the heels, but this is just one of the heels that I'm like, I want you to get beat up.
I had to point out to Bryan, though, not that I haven't seen Bobby Fish before, but I know Bryan hasn't seen a lot of Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is basically, if you teach anybody from Williamsburg MMA. Like, he is just the MMA hipster, and it's great. He's also the second oldest guy in this match at 37. Taking some really heavy spots for his age, too. Look, I don't know how anybody came out of this match without some sort of injury.
I think the only person that actually looked, I don't want to say bad, but didn't look great was Roderick Strong, because like Roderick basically was in there to get the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
He kind of had a little like ring clearing area where like both him and the authors, once they first came in, just kind of ran house for a little while.
That was mostly the authors.
But it was mostly the authors. Like Roderick kind of like felt like he was kind of shoehorned in there to be that ninth man, because like Sanity all fit and they all had their spots. The Undisputed Era with Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly they ran it again, and then at the end they ran it one more time.
Yep.
And it just Roderick felt like he was that guy who just kind of got left out.
Well, because at the end of the day, this match is 3 established teams and Roderick Strong.
Right. But Roderick Strong probably had one of his defining like WWE career moments with that superplex off the top of the cage. Too,
no, that thing was fucking like that'll
be in DVD trailers.
So the only thing that kept this from being the match of the night to me is that Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black felt like a story. It felt like it had a beginning, a middle, and end. It told a story all the way through. You could go into it without knowing what's happening.
Right.
And you could go out knowing how it ends.
Right.
This match didn't feel like it has a conclusion to me. It feels like it's setting up bigger things.
Right.
Which it is. At the end of the day, that's the whole point of this, is that it's setting up Roderick Strong against Adam Cole. It's keeping it going with Authors of Pain against Sanity.
Right.
And it's also bringing in the Undisputed Era against, or for supremacy of who's the biggest faction.
I think, and it's not confirmed, but I think it may be actually a way to ride out authors from NXT, because rumor has it is they're getting the call up soon. So
yeah, fuck all that noise.
The question is, where do they go?
Well,
hopefully nowhere.
The rumor was SmackDown, but
bury the shit out of them.
Now that the Bludgeon Brothers have debuted, I don't know.
They're just watch it. Trust me, it'll be slower. All right, their costuming is terrible.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
But
we have opinions.
I'm not the Authors of Pain, Mark. That's just me, and it feels like a cheap Shield knockoff. It feels like a cheap Shield knockoff, and then they like fuck the Legion of Doom, and like you got these weirdos.
Right. That's fair.
That's all I have, and I mean
especially with their manager, it kind of is.
Yeah. I think they're fine. I think they're fine as kind of the bruiser tag team. They don't have a lot of charisma themselves.
Yeah,
Paul Ellering
it just doesn't,
is the only thing that gives it to them.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say for them, is that they do something a lot of bigger teams can't do, and that's work well with the smaller, quicker teams.
And that's the interesting thing. There's when you really break it down, there's not a lot of bruiser tag teams going around these days.
They fit a niche that like doesn't it isn't
Right.
really like here. So I mean I understand where they're gonna go. They don't work for me specifically,
Sure.
but I understand that they do good work supposedly.
All right.
But yeah, fucking right at the end where they get up and just Adam Cole, baby, and I'm just like fuck.
God, he's
Yes.
so
I'm so but I bought a shirt. I'm a mark. I fucking love it.
I bought 2 shirts this weekend, so
I've been
not
an
allowed
Adam
to
Cole
say
mark
shit.
for a while, so I'm so glad you're on that train. So glad.
all right. Going on to Survivor Series, the undercard. There were 3 matches. I only caught one of them. The
Which one?
I only caught the last one.
Oh, the Kevin Owens one wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was
Kevin
pretty
Zane. Okay.
And we'll run through them as quickly as possible.
Sure.
Just because it is 2
because-
matches that don't really need talking about.
Nope.
Enzo kept his title against Kalisto. Hopefully, Kalisto is no longer going to be shown too much more on that. Because
He was
it
not on
doesn't
205
really
Live.
need
I
to
watched
be.
it. He was not on 205 Live. It was basically like the Zo Train and like the
205's the Gulak show now, as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah, that
Yeah, 100%.
fucking-
Let it keep being that, please, dear God.
Where's Gabagulak?
Then
like,
we had
How
Elias.
you doing?
We had Elias against Matt Hardy, in which Matt Hardy is not only
Eats the
losing
pin.
more matches, but also becoming less beloved in our heart, while Elias is becoming better and better at what he does.
Yep.
The Drifter.
Uh,
The Drifter keep on drifting.
We're getting Raw 25 in February, and I'm really hoping for a Elias and Honky Tonk Man segment. I just need that. Just 2 insufferable fucking guitar playing pieces of shit.
we closed out the pre-show with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against Breezango, which I absolutely loved. First off, let Breezango wrestle more
Please.
because they're so talented.
It's the second time they've been on TV, and both of them have been not TV, but like just wrestled. And I think
Matches.
both of them have been pre-show matches, and like
Yep.
one of them was SummerSlam, right?
I think so.
The
I believe
last
so.
big 4.
Yep.
Like, what are these guys doing?
They're
Like,
pre-show guys.
Put them on
Yeah.
the fucking TV. Like, they're awesome. They're fucking over. and
They're
just-
so over.
But the thing is I think that the downside of that is people would rather see them do Fashion Files, which I totally understand. I'm bought into that. Personally, in my opinion, you have a whole fucking network, WWE.
Right.
Just make a Fashion Files show. You made an Edge and Christian show,
I
for
would
Christ's sake,
so
which was
watch
great.
it.
They can do both. I really do believe they can
Right.
do both.
You 100% can do both because you have... How long could these segments possibly take?
They're doing them in one shot. I
Right.
mean, they're doing them live.
Right.
You know.
So, I mean, I say put Breezango or put Fashion Files as its own show on the network.
Totally into
Do it do it an episode every 2 weeks because you don't need to do it every week or we'll all get burned out by then. And then have them actually perform because they are crazy good workers.
Give me a Thursday night hour comedy block with the Fashion Files and Southpaw Regional Wrestling just every 2 weeks.
And bring back the Edge and Christian show
I'll
because
watch
that
it.
was super fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Going on to the main show.
Shield New Day.
Shield's curtain jerking.
It started out with Shield New Day, which it's everybody still does not like Roman,
My God.
No, Roman is more over with the Shield than he ever
and
is.
he's
And
still
I just,
getting booed.
Still, not even just still getting booed, getting "you still suck" chants.
like he works well with the Shield because he doesn't have to do much of anything. They all get their spots. I feel like they should have put the shirt on Roman so he could have looked as bad as he actually is because those shirts are god awful, and I hate the New Day.
Running theme of the night, you can tell who matters the most to Vince because they didn't have to wear their brand shirt.
Yeah, fuck.
I mean,
I just
Roman, Cena, Hunter,
I think that was about it.
yeah, Roman, Cena, Hunter. That's everybody else is wearing brand shirts all night.
Lesnar.
Yep.
Lesnar doesn't wear the shirt.
Nope.
Why would you cover up those great tattoos?
I
Hand grenade.
I don't know how many.
sword.
Like it's gonna get pretty repetitive for me, but I just can't stand the New Day, and I can't stand Xavier Woods specifically. He's just terrible. He was a valet that came out and did shit, and then suddenly like retarded his way. He failed upward into a tag team. I feel, and somehow he's now a part, like an equal part of this 3-person team that he does not deserve to be in. He cannot wrestle. He like Kofi and Big E work so well, and Xavier's there to just like eat punishment and like do nothing.
He
as far
did
as
have
I'm
the
concerned.
one good spot in the match with where he manages to get Big E on his shoulders and then Kofi on Big E's shoulders.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything in that spot, is what I'm saying. So like he still
No,
was
he's
like,
literally the bottom guy who does the least.
Yeah.
he's just
Low man on the totem pole.
Yeah, that's
He's
exactly what it was.
terrible. And
That to me was probably the most forgettable match of the weekend.
yeah, the New Day,
Really?
the New Day
think
disgust
so,
me,
'cause
and
I don't really remember any spots.
the New Day disgust me, and the Shield's been a
fine.
Shield.
It
Yeah.
was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think that there were any bad matches this weekend.
I just would rather see all of those guys in different scenarios.
I'm fine with. No, I'm not fine with the New Day existing. Never mind. Fuck.
Yeah.
SmackDown's gonna be rough for you next week, buddy.
Oh, it's. Whew.
That
Wrestling's
match
been
ended
rough.
exactly how everybody expected it would. Then we went on to the women's 5x5.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Actually,
This
I
was
take it
sleeper.
back. This one was the worst match of the weekend.
You think so?
There was so much sloppiness.
I thought this was
Weird
like,
booking.
It bugged the shit out of me.
I thought this was like sleeper for best. Like there were some really good spots here.
Sure.
No, there were definitely good spots, but all right.
The SmackDown team doesn't interest me, and Becky being your first elim really kind of felt weird, especially when you have like
It felt cheap.
Becky's been getting fucked. Like she's really been getting.
Oh,
she's been getting
just
buried.
wait until
They did.
SmackDown.
They did the same thing with Becky that they did with Sasha last year. Surprise first elimination real quick into the match for the person that's super over.
Yeah, like she is just getting buried. She hasn't been able to do anything. And I was thinking this captain thing might have helped her, but just no.
Here's the thing: is that you can let Becky lose because people are gonna keep cheering for her. And I guess they probably see other people as needing the push more than she does.
I mean, Carmella needed some definite ring work, and I mean, she's not half bad.
No, she's
getting better.
She's
Yeah.
improving.
Here's my issue, and I want to try to keep this as brief as I possibly can because it is hair pulling out bad, in my opinion. Watching the women's Fatal 4-Way for NXT, you had 4 performers. It wasn't sloppy. The transitions were clean. They are great. Or you had 4 incredible performers working at their best. And this you had 10 people, and maybe 4 of them were clean.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's Survivor
Maybe.
Series specifically.
There was
but
one of them went bad to a shitty pin, like a really bad count from the referee. It was just-
yeah, that was barely like that. That one kind of cut me where I was like, I
It
guess it's a
was-
3, and then he just kind of like pushed
Yeah, he
her
was
out.
like,
He was like, nope, you're done, and I was like,
we
oh.
have time to catch up on.
Yeah.
I think it can't be stated more in this specific situation that your road agent for for NXT, your guy helping to lay out these matches is Shawn Michaels,
Right.
and he's not working main roster. He's working with the NXT guys, and I think it definitely shows in the
It
way
does.
these matches are laid out.
Yeah.
Because there's no lack of talent on the main roster in any capacity, but some of these matches are just,
I mean,
what is going on?
I'm not a big fan of Bayley's in-ring work. Alicia Fox, we all know.
I've
is
yet
not-
to see a match in which
Yeah.
I've been impressed by Bayley's in-ring work.
Nia-
And this is what irritates the shit out of me.
Is that she's
Is
still
that-
there and
no,
Nikki's
it's
not?
that these people are what they are saying, or are saying this is what represents the WWE. NXT does not get that credit.
No, not at all.
They do not, but they are better performers consistently, and it's fucking upsetting to me for somebody who just started watching wrestling a year ago, and everybody telling me that the women's division is one of the highlights of the show, and I'm not fucking seeing it.
That's fair. Well, it's getting a shot in the arm this week, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get to that soon. But Raw takes the win.
Asuka, what takes the last 2 pins real fucking
yeah,
quick,
Asuka's
or
got
submissions.
the last two elims essentially. Nothing really to note here. Tamina Nia standoff was kind of cool. That's all I
That
got.
actually was pretty cool, and I think it did good things for both of them.
Nia, I keep calling her
Yeah.
Nia. Nia
Which
Jax.
both of them need the push.
Tamina really
Mia needs to get better, but Tamina definitely needs to push.
Tamia's got not a lot going for her.
Alrighty. So
I think it was tag team next. It was either tag team or
It was
Intercontinental.
tag team because that's the first.
The
Raw's
bar.
up 2 right now. Raw's got 2 wins to SmackDown 0.
No, it was Corbin
versus the Miz.
Oh,
yeah,
yep.
because Corbin was like, had to call in the Lone Wolf to get the win, and I was like, fuck you and both your hairs.
I would like Corbin so much more if Angry Prospector was his gimmick.
Fuck.
Did
That match
anybody
had
else
more-
appreciate that Curtis Axel had on a red neck
Oh
brace?
my god,
Yes.
that got more of a pop from me than the whole rest of the match. Like, I liked him taunting Maurice, but I don't think he really did it all that. Like, it didn't really work for me. But I like the.
The only time Miz has ever seemed badass to me was in his response promo right there at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was solid work.
This actually had one of my favorite things about Survivor Series in it, was during that match when I learned that Survivor Series was going to have 2 Macho Men for every Hulk Hogan in the audience.
I think that's the appropriate ratio.
Like the Miz versus Baron Corbin, the match everybody wanted.
That match actually did end up being better than what it needed to, or than what
It's a better
was
match
expected.
than everybody thought.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, everybody thought it was going to be hot garbage.
I need Thackeray doing Macho Man for the rest of the show.
To be fair, I practice Macho Man
All the time.
more than I need to. I do a lot of voices on my off time.
I respect that.
Get my Zap Brannigan here soon.
We need you to bust out, or just to fit in with the rest of the wrestling podcast, we need you to pull out your best Stone Cold soon.
No, thank you. Not a Stone Cold guy.
So they had Miz eat the pin on this one, and for a good reason.
Made Corbin look good.
Miz doesn't need to look good. Miz looks better on his back than he does winning.
Ha! Transition into Raw, eventually.
Yeah. So then we got to the Bar vs. Usos. That ended up being a bunch of just great spots because you had 4 fantastic workers.
Yeah.
I thought the Usos entrance promo wasn't as good as what they've done before.
I really
like
love
that one
their
didn't really.
entrance promo.
It was a little goofy,
It
but
didn't really work for me like the other ones. The other ones have leading
for
up
the
to this,
lead up?
but like
Yeah.
that one specifically, I thought was a little off.
It might have been weaker than their previous ones, but they had to focus for like an actual match this time.
Yeah, and they had I think they super kicked everybody about 27 times. Like,
I
that's-
did the count. That one had 5 super kicks in it.
Jeez.
I'm really hoping that we'll get a Young Bucks cease and desist letter to the WWE over all the super kick usage.
I mean, yeah, that was fun. I thought that one was a pretty
was-
good one. Like both of them work really
You're not
well
going to get
together.
a bad match out of them.
Like,
You're just not
4
going
great
to.
workers.
I love the Bar because they always go for these innovative or like even like callback like tag team moves where I've seen them do the 3D and I've seen them do the what's it called, this Frankensteiner. Like I love them like doing like really really fun like tag moves.
You have to keep in mind, they do the goddamn fusion dance
Yeah.
in their entrance. There's no way in the war. They're laying it all out at the beginning that they are fans first.
I don't want to take anything away from Sheamus because Sheamus gets a lot of shit and I don't think he deserves it. He's a really good in-ring performer.
That fucking mohawk makes him an easy target.
Oh, absolutely.
No, his chant is well deserved. The "You look stupid" chant is
yeah.
one of the best things in the tag team division right now.
But Cesaro has always and probably
My
will
calls
always
just
be a great tag team wrestler. If he has chemistry with somebody, 10 years on the indies with Cassius Ohno. Kings of Wrestling were a great fucking team.
If you want to know the one thing that bums me out about the Bar is that Cesaro no longer comes out in his breakaway tux.
You know what? I'm hoping they bring it back for Mania season.
That would be amazing.
Class the fucking joint up, guys.
Right?
Running through.
The Slammies.
Yeah.
That's got to happen, right?
Usos
I'm gonna watch
took
it, but it'll happen.
Usos took that pin or took that win. It
that
really
point, it's all
didn't
tied
matter.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. That was just serve the story because they needed to get the numbers higher up.
Yeah.
It did not matter who won that match because they all fucking look great.
Absolutely.
Because they always do.
I mean, that's the kind of the thing here with Survivor Series, that none of these matches matters. It's like a really long episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
That's exactly what I was about to say. It is the Whose Line pay-per-view.
It's definitely more all-star match than it is championship match.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just get people doing their most fun stuff because at the end of the day, the stakes aren't high. The stakes aren't trying to put anybody over.
The stakes are nothing.
The stakes are, they don't matter. The points don't matter. Unless if you're Shane.
Best match of the night up next.
Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss. Charlotte Flair will pull a great match, or will pull a very good match out of damn near anybody.
Alexa looked better than she has in ring in a while.
Yeah, I thought Alexa looked great.
And
she wrestled well, too.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, that was a fun match.
It's hard because I felt like that was going to be a lot sloppier than it was because Alexa's so small and Charlotte's legs are about as long as Alexa is tall.
Yeah.
So I thought there was going to be a lot of for Alexa specifically, Charlotte was going to manhandle her regardless
absolutely.
because that's what she does. I mean, you've seen how she wrestles Sasha, but I felt like it was going to be hard for Alexa to pull some spots, and she actually slowed the match down and did a lot of good heel work, and I was like, this is pretty good. I like this. This is the best match that she's had in a while.
Her psychology is improving.
Yeah.
Here's what you have so you have the cowardly Ric Flair heel with the Miz, and you have the strong showboaty heel with Charlotte.
Sure.
And it's just she plays the role so well. She's just so good. Her being a face is not the most believable, but since kayfabe is essentially dead and all the stuff going on with her family and the 30 for 30, it makes sense that she would be the one that you're rooting for.
It'd be hard to turn her heel right now.
Right. You're going to have to wait until you have a little bit of distance between her dad almost dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Charlotte won that one with the tap, which was a bunch of fun.
They protect that figure eight.
They do.
They should.
Yeah.
It's up there with Dirty Deeds for being one of the most protected moves on the main roster.
Because the moment she locks it in, I was like, well, there goes the match for Alexa, and I was like, I like this because it matters more to give Alexa the L than Charlotte the W.
Right.
Because Alexa's been fucking running rampant this whole year,
Yep.
and to see her take the L, I think that's gonna take an interesting turn for what she's gonna be able to do.
Yes.
So it was good. It was good all around.
We'll see on Monday.
We did see on Monday. But before we did that, we saw Brock versus AJ.
Brock's best match in
Brock's best match of the year easily.
Yep.
Possibly his best match in the past
2.
maybe 3 years.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I still jerk off to that Cena squash at SummerSlam.
That's just because you
that
got
was
to
like
see
two
Cena get
and a
squashed.
half, 3 years
Yeah.
ago now. But yeah, no, that. But see, that was the birth of Suplex City. That's when it wasn't fucking stale as shit.
I cannot, or it would honestly be better for you to check out what Paul Heyman said after the match than for us to talk about the match.
Yeah.
Because he says it the best. You had 2 great performers doing what they love. You really get to realize, or you really get reminded in this match that Brock just loves wrestling.
Yeah.
He
He actually showed it for once.
Yeah, I mean, he got to show his passion.
I think because he actually cared about the match and didn't have to fight Jinder fucking Mahal.
My God, what an abortion that match would have been. That would have just been.
That would have been a squash fest.
It would have had to have been. There was no getting around that.
Well, they weren't gonna let Jinder get any offense on Brock. I mean, they barely let AJ get any fucking offense. For the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh my God, they're really doing this.
Yeah.
I was like, they're really doing this.
That match not only told a story, that told a story that I really want to see a sequel to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, AJ, I think it's one of those things where it makes it believable that AJ could possibly pull out a sneaky W.
A sneak win, yeah.
Yeah.
It's everybody had said Rocky going up to it, and AJ reminded you that Rocky may be the hero, but he doesn't win the first time around.
Yeah.
Then we had the men's 5-on-5, which was pretty fun. I liked it.
It was just overbooked. It
Yeah.
was way fucking overbooked, and it did.
With the early tags in the beginning, everybody getting their little things in.
Everybody gets their shit in. We knock out all the important young guys first, and then it's just. Except for Braun,
We'll get. I want to get to Braun
So-
in a second. But
so
I mean,
here,
Nakamura, like in the beginning, Nakamura Balor, I thought was fucking great.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
those guys both wrestled.
let them do shit together.
Yeah, I was like both wrestled in Japan, and like you can tell that they both understand.
Oh yeah.
What they like, they just work well. I mean, Balor works well together with most anybody, but you can tell that they had worked well together. They were working a specific fucking style.
Absolutely.
And it just.
Balor, I think, looked the worst in that
He didn't come out of
match.
it looking good.
And here's why.
No, he's getting. I think he's getting out of the 10 of them that were in the match. I think he's going to get buried.
He's getting
him and Rude. I think
mishandled
are going to be
so
the one
bad.
that are going to come out of that looking bad.
Here's my big reason why. Triple H, I think, played a really, really good role. He was able to put over Nakamura and Rude.
I loved it because I mean you could have had a whole NXT people that he's brought through NXT, and I really like to like bring him in, and he's like, all right, you're on my level, so to say. So like
Right.
let's
do this thing.
yeah.
So he got to put over both Nakamura and Rude. That's where Finn went wrong, and that is by being on Raw on the same team as Triple H, where Triple H
Can't
wouldn't
put him over.
or can't put him over. Because
team up-
obviously Triple H has a lot of respect and a lot of care for the NXT people. I mean, he worked really, really hard to get them to where they are. So he was more than happy. I think that at the end of the day, he's such a mark for the show.
Right.
He's more than happy to put over those people and show their strengths, and he does a great job. Finn just should have been on SmackDown. That would have made him look a lot better. Because you don't need to make Joe look good. Joe's going to look good, or Joe is the exception to the rule when it
Right.
comes to NXT. He just fucking is good. He looks good no matter what.
Joe doesn't have to worry about being protected because Vince can look at Joe and say, "Oh, I recognize this. This is the wild Samoan. This one can just talk." It is an 80s gimmick that is modernized that Vince can understand. Vince can't understand why Finn is so over with the crowd. And
I mean, he can't understand a lot of stuff that's happening
Right.
consistently throughout this. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought John Cena was actually going to play more part in this, but he actually got in, did his little thing, and then got out. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so like,
they dropped him quick.
yeah,
They just had him be a throwback to old school
John Cena
ruthless
sucks.
ruthless aggression
Yeah.
era Cena of we're gonna get that match that I think it's especially because we're seeing the end of Cena
Definitely.
as we know it, where they just kind of want to do that thing of remember where I came from.
Right.
So they had him get the shit beat out of him by
yeah,
Kurt Angle.
You had the angle thing going on, so that was fun.
I think Cena is officially not a full-time wrestler anymore.
Yep, that's just
I don't.
it is the end of an era for
Yeah.
sure. Like him or hate him, it's the end of a big thing.
God, I hated Cena for so long, and I'm kind of sad to see him go.
right. Yeah.
Not as a person, just as a wrestler.
Oh man,
He's a
fair.
great guy. He
Oh,
works with kids. He's
you-
fucking fantastic.
You can't
He's-
hold like as a person. You can't hold anything against Cena. What a good solid dude.
yes, 100%.
Fuck that, like, I don't know. That brought the Strowman through the.
I will get to
through the-
Strowman in literally 2 seconds.
Okay.
All that I want to say is, thank fuck Randy Orton did not win that goddamn match.
I thought it was gonna happen. I was like, well, there's 3 of them, and there's 2 of him, and I was like, maybe we're gonna get this, but nope.
I'm glad.
Didn't
we
happen. There was a Kevin and Sammy interference. It
Yep.
lasted like what felt like 20 seconds and then was done.
Yep.
They're building it up in SmackDown to be like this big grand thing that happened, but I barely remember it. I
Yeah,
think
they
I was
had
looking
to-
at my phone at that moment, and as soon as I looked back up, it was gone.
It was so quick that it didn't even. You could have missed. Like, you could have missed it. Like, it just, boom, done.
Yeah.
I didn't even. They had to go back. They had to do the replay on Raw for me to be like, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
All right.
It just didn't have a lot of impact.
Strowman
Now,
time.
on to Strowman. The highlight of the fucking match.
Oh, absolutely.
First off, all that I could think of was if you shave his beard and his mustache, he would look like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
He would look like this big baby face monster. And he had that face. He had the Frankenstein learns what friendship means face.
Yep.
He
And
was just
learns
like-
what betrayal means.
Like, I had that face for a minute too, and I was like, what is Triple H doing? I don't know. He did the pedigree, and then he's standing over here, and then he pedigreed, and then he's holding my hand up, and I don't. What?
It was so great.
I felt like Strowman just forgot. Like he might have just like I felt like he was like smelling like he was having an aneurysm or something, like a stroke, and he was just like freaking out because I was like, I don't know what's happening here. It made me feel awkward.
Yeah,
I feel like the whole crowd didn't know how to react after the angle pedigree because the whole crowd went quiet and they were just like, what?
What's this?
I thought we were done with Triple H being an asshole.
So yeah, no. Triple H is going to be a heel on TV forever because it is what he knows and what he loves.
It just seems so obvious.
That they don't.
Why didn't you see it coming, Kurt?
So I don't know if either of you guys have seen this. A couple of years ago, John Landis' kid Max
Landis, yeah,
did a short movie on YouTube. It's like 20 minutes called "Wrestling Isn't Wrestling." And it's basically a look at wrestling, like sort of from the outside, where he tells the story of Triple H from the beginning to the end. And you get this sort of meta look at the character. And realistically, Triple H is the most consistently booked character of all time. Because he's basically this asshole who's really not as good as he thinks he is, and is constantly trying to prove that he is, and getting showed up by better people. And Max actually tweeted after this, like sort of explaining. I saw
that and I followed that chain and I was like, this makes all the sense to me.
It's perfect.
Now that I know there's a documentary, that's probably what I'm doing immediately after this.
It's so funny. It is at 20 minutes, absolutely worth your time.
So yeah, we end with a great spot of Braun Strowman just doing Strowman things, and then we can cut to Raw. My favorite part of Raw was the
Raw.
So the live chat that goes on in Squared Circle.
Yep.
The top comment was from somebody saying, if Stephanie comes out and says, "Welcome to Raw," I will eat my dog's poop. And then he immediately got called out for I think
you said Monday Night Raw to be
Monday Night Raw. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, that's what he had said.
Okay.
Surprise.
Basically, this was a man betting his life savings that the sun wasn't going to come up the next day.
Right. Just a poor call on his part.
God. So we had that show start out.
It was a good opening promo.
Yeah. Steph comes out with Triple H, and then Kurt comes out, and then Jordan comes out, and then Braun comes out. Triple H is afraid of Braun.
It's great.
Jordan's not afraid of Braun.
He should be.
So they put Jordan hates Triple H. Angle hates Triple H. Everybody wants a piece of Triple H. So, in conclusion, we had Jordan face Braun.
Right.
It's like a weird love triangle, but
winner gets
where
Hunter.
Nobody gets what they want except for Braun, who just wants to throw things.
Braun's just biding his time until he gets.
He's Lenny, right? He's Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Oh yeah, and wait until they give him George as a mouthpiece.
Man, I want that.
I'm just waiting. I think Braun's just biding his time until he can get a good garbage truck gimmick match. I think that's what we're gonna get.
Is Enzo Amore.
Oh God! Please fantasy book that. Of Mice and Men with Enzo.
All right, we had
Braun.
2 fantasy bookings that got briefly called out. We'll get to that towards the end. This is a long weekend. We have a lot to rush through. We have Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor, which was a good match.
I like how they're trading here. They're giving him a 1-2, 1-2.
Yeah, they're going to have this go back and forth. But I think that this means a bigger, better thing. And what that is...
Balor's not getting fed to...
Not Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
The word backstage is that it was going to be Finn versus...
This is what I was reading, yeah.
Lesnar at the Rumble, and apparently Vince has lost faith in Finn Balor. Which is...
You know that he's writing the fucking thing, right?
Right. Like, no, he doesn't seem to realize that.
Vince is like this perfect Alzheimer's patient who is like writing shitty storylines, forgetting about it, and then getting mad at them later.
Exactly. I'm so mad at you because you're so over that the entire crowd pops for your whole fucking entrance.
Like, we can't have him face Lesnar. He keeps losing. Because you keep making him lose.
That's
right.
Your call.
We had Asuka squash Dana Brooke. Probably the best part of that match was Asuka doing her dance in the ring, taunting Dana. We had Finn versus Miz TV with Roman Reigns, who was actually the Shield. He's not Roman Reigns. He's actually just the Shield, right? Because the only person who talked in that promo was Dean.
Yep.
Challenge for the Intercontinental Championship.
So I don't know how much you guys care about. We'll do this later. I'll do this during the Roman match.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Yeah.
We'll get there shortly because
they booked the
this
fucking
was
Roman
not
match.
a great card following Survivor Series. So I
No.
feel like a lot of what's happening we can just run through as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
Gallows and Anderson Black Friday commercial.
Yeah, that was
Great.
fantastic. That was the moment that my wife realized that Gallows and Anderson are amazing.
Does that count us on TV?
It was on my
That's
TV.
like a half point.
It was on TV.
Okay.
They did more talking than they've done this
Look,
year.
They had 2 solid minutes of just having fun. So good for those guys.
So they follow that up with Ambrose versus Sheamus. They're doing this like singles thing with tag team partners for some reason.
Yeah, it's
They're
weird.
doing that on both promotions for no good reason. It serves nobody. Dirty Deeds continues to be the most protected goddamn move in the WWE.
Hey, at least there is a protected move, you know.
I really like this next promo where it had Jason Jordan talking to Matt Hardy, in which Matt Hardy basically says, be prepared to lose more, because that's what's going to happen.
Matt's like, take it from me. I've been dyeing this white strip in my hair, hoping that we could try and get my gimmick back, but we won't.
We're enhancement talent, friend.
Remember, Jason, we're all going to die cold and alone one day, and that the universe doesn't care about you.
Want to start the job squad again?
Until Jeff comes back, that's going to be what that is.
Yup.
So we have follow that up with women's fatal four-way to determine the number one contender. It ends with not anybody winning that.
Nope.
But the
Yeah.
return of Paige.
Surprise.
Because Paige is back.
Yeah.
They've settled her injuries and her commitment
Thackeray's
to
happy.
Alberto Del Rio and that time that
She's lost some
totally
weight.
fucked Xavier Woods.
Yeah. And
I could tell,
lip
like, I mean-
injections.
I think it was just the red lips. She didn't do red. She used to do black.
Sure.
But maybe the lip injections. I don't know. Like I could tell that she like had been injured and had been working out, but definitely like wasn't as like
Right.
she'd lost some weight. So we'll see.
Yeah, it looked great. I had never seen Paige in ring. She was really, really good.
Sure.
I'm super excited. Her like lifting DDT that she does is nasty.
Yeah, that's real.
She's people credit or credit part of the women's revolution to the Four Horsemen, but I really do think it started with Paige.
She and AJ were the first
Yeah.
women on the main roster that actually could wrestle.
So
I mean,
So
straight up.
you had her, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville, both of them from NXT, getting called up.
Yep.
Just keep your eyes out because this is going to look really, really familiar in about 10 to 20 minutes.
I think Mandy getting called up could be dangerous for Alexa because they basically have the same bitchy cheerleader gimmick, but Mandy is a significantly better wrestler. I think if she's able to get over quickly, I think we'll probably see Alexa move to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I think what they're gonna do probably is they're gonna do the same thing that they did when the Four Horsemen or the Four Horsewomen arrived.
Yeah.
Or the three because Bailey
Trios.
is start teaming up.
Right.
Get Alexa with somebody and then get the
They
rest.
need to
of
get a women's tag champ or tag title because there are
Absolutely.
too fucking many women.
It's starting to get to the point where they got about 10, 11 wrestlers on each promotion. 10,
Quite
yeah.
a bit of talented
Which
ones
is
too.
good.
There's
I
like
mean,
20 total on the main roster.
Yeah.
They need 5 more to get called up to have their own Rumble.
Yeah. I'd watch that.
So that attack continues from the ring into the backstage. Alexa Bliss gets attacked, kind of setting up this whole Paige and this NXT invasion for the women that they're doing.
I'm for it.
Next up was
Push Paige.
Braun Strowman versus Jason Jordan, in which a Wild Kane appeared and then dealt 2 times chair damage to Braun Strowman.
Roll the crit.
It was ugly looking.
It wasn't
It
good.
looked like it hurt.
Kane switched his mask back to like bad hair. I think he was wearing the same mask for whatever reason. When Kane does like surprise appearances, he has bad hair, and then when he's like booked, he's got good hair. So I don't know if he walks around with like a traveling mask and then he has like his good mask, but that mask and that hair was fucking awful. It's just top hair. He's got just top
it's
hair.
not good.
What the fuck?
It's real bad. It looks like it's attached to that one strap of the, like it's attached to the mask. It's not even a wig. It's just attached to the mask.
God damn it.
Oh, it's like a bad Halloween
The Zoe
mask.
Train came out after that, showed off probably half the roster of 205 Live, or
Most
something
of the
like
roster, yeah.
that. That went from great promo work and then turned into a pretty good 8-man tag match.
Sure.
Where everybody got to show off what they're doing. I really like what they're doing with Raw and 205 Live. They're just kind of, we're going to give you a taste, and then if you're on the network, come watch this. It's only an hour of your time, and it's the most electrifying hour of the other 8 hours.
It's only
of
an hour,
wrestling.
and you can like fast forward to like 45 minutes of it.
I'd watch Drew Gulak talk for 45 minutes about
Oh,
infrastructure.
I'd watch
so.
the whole fucking PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
No chanting.
Good guys won at that one. It was pretty fun. Does Elias look like he's too big for his guitar?
Yeah. He's real jacked.
He comes out, does his sing-songy stuff, heals it up for a while, gets interrupted by Matt. They beat each other up in the ring for a little while, and then Elias scampers off to the background.
Oh man.
We closed the show with
Drifter gonna drift.
I just fantasy booking later.
we closed the match out with Roman versus The Miz for the Intercontinental match. We don't really care that much about the match, but there are two things significant about this. One is Roman is finally a Grand Slam champion,
Yeah.
Finally.
Yep.
proving once again that he will always play second fiddle to Dean in my eyes.
Fair.
And you also had the Miz take the triple power bomb through the table, I think it was,
Writing him off.
because he's off to do a movie and have a baby. So good luck to the Miz in all of his future endeavors. He is fantastic.
We're gonna miss him.
I miss him already. Thackeray.
Are we gonna? I think we should at least be semi-fucking consistent with ring gear at this point, because like I'm the only person that I think cares about this.
Sure.
But why does Roman get to come out with his stupid fucking Roman gear
I agree.
when
I 100%
they're in
agree.
a Shield gimmick right now? They're doing the Shield things. Come
My
out in your
idea
Shield
is if
shit.
you're going to
Because they're doing the Shield entirely to get Roman over.
yeah, but here's what I think.
It's garbage.
Here's what I think. Be consistent in your inconsistency. If everybody's going to wear the fucking Shield gear, let the other two guys have their fucking logos on that gear as well.
God damn it. Yeah. Okay.
Dean's
that-
is just drawn on with a crayon.
Yeah, whatever. Just like sharpen, or even better, it's just like duct taped on.
My like among the many issues that I have with Roman is that Roman never evolved past the Shield. He comes out to the same music.
Yep.
He does the same ring entrance. All they did
He has the
was
same
iron on.
3 moves.
They ironed on a fucking Roman Reigns thing onto his fucking vest, and that's Roman Reigns.
They also
like,
made it
that's his
fit a
thing.
little bit better.
He hasn't changed
No.
one
And
item
I just
from that.
And
Until
now
the WWE lets him have a personality, he'll stay hated.
think he
his-
has a personality.
His actual
That's the-
personality,
Yeah.
not this written personality. If you want to see Roman Reigns with like actually impress you, pull up the network, go back, find some of his promos as Roman Leakey in NXT. Terrible name, but he's basically got a Ric Flair gimmick, and he's great at it. Legitimately great at it, just being a douchebag.
I don't know. I think it's to the point where I don't think there's any saving Roman. I don't think there's any saving Roman. You either like Roman or you hate Roman. He's become Cena. You either for Cena or you're against Cena, and the reason why you're probably against Cena or Roman in this case is because he's just shoved down your goddamn throat.
Here's the
He's got
thing,
a
though.
title, and we have to deal with him now.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Cena I don't think Cena was nearly as shoved down our throat as...
It was the
as
fact
Roman
that Cena
was.
was Superman. Is that Cena could never lose, and Cena no matter what happened when the Cena.
Cena
with
was
the
upsetting
feud-
that once he made that face turn, he never showed any growth in his character.
Yeah, and then he beat everybody essentially.
It took Cena longer to get shoved down our throats.
Yeah.
Because he got to be that obnoxious
He got to do
heel
him.
character for almost 2 years before we basically turned him face by cheering for him. And then they were like, fuck it, they love him, let's shove him down. Just cram more in there.
And JBL and his stupid spinner belts. That's what did it.
How are you not going to get over when your antagonist is JBL, though? Because he's just so fucking hateable.
Oh yeah, he is. He is the
Just
most hateable guy in the WWE,
hateable dude.
or at least in the most recent WWE.
Oh,
But yeah, we got Roman with the Intercontinental title, and that means that like I have like now he's going to actually be in match. It's really deflating for me. And I remember reading booking way earlier in the year, like prior to SummerSlam, saying that they were going to put the Intercontinental belt on him before, and then have him drop it to take Brock in WrestleMania. And the moment this happened, I was like, oh shit, they're doing
Confirmed.
it. Yeah, they're doing it.
And the worst part is they did the same thing last year, where at right around Survivor Series they put the U.S. belt on him, and then he didn't do anything with it. He basically got his ass kicked by Braun, you know. But before that, he didn't do anything with it for months. He had months where he was just kind of Romaning it, you know. He was just Roman Reigns with it, and I'm afraid they're going to do that to the Intercontinental belt, which is a shame because Miz has legitimately spent his time with the title elevating that belt back to where it should be.
Plus,
Between
there's
him
no-
and Dean,
Yeah.
or the program that the Miz had with Dean Ambrose was just incredible for the Intercontinental belt because it gave it so much legitimacy
Absolutely.
on both sides.
And we don't have a WWE championship or Universal, or Brock's, off to Brock in the next until the
See you at
next
the Rumble.
pay-per-view. So that's kind of like the Intercontinental Championship is all we got at the
Right.
moment, and now Roman is all we got.
Right.
Like you're essentially giving us a taste of Roman so we can get a bigger taste of Roman later. That's how I see it. It just kind of
Absolutely.
frustrates me.
SmackDown came out. Shane opened the show, spinning his losses.
Yep.
Calls out Kevin and Sammy for interfering, even though they barely fucking interfered. Fuck you, Shane. I'm saying it now.
Sammy's the real MVP of this segment.
Shane can take a
100%.
beating too, so it didn't even matter. Like they punched
Check.
him like 3 times.
Oh my god.
Like
Check 2. Yeah. It was just fantastic. Daniel Bryan interrupts Shane O'Mac doing his best Vince impression.
Yep.
So that he could book Kevin and Sammy
What?
against the New Day.
what's the power structure here on SmackDown still? I still don't know the power structure because if Shane is the commissioner, how does Daniel get to interrupt him and tell him don't fire them? I'm going to book them. I'm the commissioner of this show. I fire who I fucking want, Daniel Ugly
It's 'cause
Bryan
Shane's-
face.
Shane's still playing the face. You know, Shane's our Stephanie, and then Daniel's our Kurt.
Right.
Except Steph's a heel and Shane's a face. So, you know, he lets face Daniel Bryan go, "Oh, you make a good point. All right. Yeah, let's get their asses kicked and then we'll fire them."
Right. So
No.
this was
No.
this whole show was putting over Daniel because he really gets to kind of show a little bit of strength on his show for a change and make decisions and be the guy who is leading how the show will go.
I like where this could be going.
I'm excited for it because I
You think Daniel's going to get back in the ring against Shane?
I'm hoping.
I would hope so. If not, there's no payoff to this.
Because
Right.
it seems like they're kind of pitting them against each other. Like Daniel's going to get too big for his britches, and Shane's going to have to be like, "Hey, step the fuck down." Which I mean, I'm the one asking about the power structure, so I'm hoping for this. But at the same time, like
The great thing is
they've been
that
floundering for how
Shane
long?
is the perfect person to protect
Daniel.
to protect Daniel in the ring because you can still have those big flashy things, but Shane will take the bumps. And as long as Daniel will like cover his face when he headbutts people, he should be fine.
Realistically, we have to remember, Daniel Bryan has 11 months left on his contract. If the WWE does not put him back in the ring,
He's
gonna-
going somewhere.
He's going to New Japan.
'Cause, I mean-
straight up, New Japan will shell out that money because that is a huge fucking benefit.
You see him on his Twitter. He is itching to be back in the ring. I mean, there's been some quotes going around of like how he missed out on his dad passing
Yep.
for wrestling, and people have asked him like how he feels about that, and he's like, well, not wrestling isn't bringing dad back.
Yeah.
It's not filling in more time. So I mean, you have this person who is passionate about what he does, and he's not allowed to do it. So if he can't do it here, he'll go to a doctor who will say yes.
Every other doctor's saying yes too. That's the thing. They have 11 months, and I think this is a way to sort of ease him back into the ring, because if not, there's no payoff on this. There's no point in getting Daniel Bryan into a feud that he can't
complete.
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Yeah, just finish.
They did that with the Miz, and it was awful because that was so fucking
Miz
hot.
with Bryan, where he was just shooting on him, just
Absolutely,
consistently, and I was just like
it just
hiding my head, like, what is he doing?
Right.
Like,
it just makes Bryan look weak.
It emasculates him. Yeah.
And that has to build to something because he's so
solid.
beloved by the fans. To have him just be emasculated week in, week out,
it's tough to watch.
It's shitty to us.
Yeah,
I loved Bryan, and I think I've actually I don't know, turned on him, but I'm just kind of sick of him doing nothing. So I either want him to just be off air and do nothing, or I don't want him being on air and doing nothing. That's what bothers me.
It's a waste of talent.
Why are you here?
Yeah,
you're
right.
wasting my time. Is
Right.
essentially what I'm.
You're wasting your own time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. First match of the night was Shelton Benjamin versus Jey Uso, which
Fine.
it was all right. Ended with pay dirt. Shelton they're trying to make it so that there's a tag team worth competing against the Usos. It's not this one.
No. And it's a shame because hey, Shelton and Chad are both
they're great workers,
but they're just not. They're not doing anything with.
They
it.
have no chemistry, or they don't have a lot of chemistry.
Look
together.
at how much mic time they've not had at all.
yeah. They just come out and wrestle and leave.
Yeah.
I don't really
much.
feel any connection to him.
No.
They have.
I don't want to root for him. I have no reason to.
Right.
They have Benjamin do more talking than Gable, which
is
fucking
a poor decision.
yeah. Shelton Benjamin has the personality of a shoe. He's just not.
Same with Jason Jordan. It was Chad Gable that got Jason Jordan over. Right. It will be Chad Gable that gets Shelton Benjamin over in this situation.
If they ever.
Now it's starting to
Right.
not look like it's going to turn into a heel turn, which is way dumber than the alternate.
Oh yeah.
So they did these promos back and forth throughout SmackDown of
These are great.
They're trying to get people to
the whole point is that
their
they're booking
alliance or something.
or
Right.
is that the match was going to be a lumberjack match with the entire SmackDown roster as the Lumberjacks, and Kevin and Sammy are going in with the assumption that once they get destroyed by the New Day and the entire SmackDown roster, they're going to get fired.
Yep.
So their idea is they're going to go to everyone in the backstage, or at least every heel in the backstage, and they're going to try to get them to be on their side. And it blows up in their face.
Yeah, the lone wolf.
not
The
work.
lone wolf is exactly what he is. He's a lone fucking wolf.
Yup.
That was possibly the best mic work that I've seen Baron Corbin do. It was really, really fun with him being like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Followed up by Bobby Roode saying the same fucking thing.
Right.
Bobby ain't about that life.
No.
They went on to Ruby. All right, so in NXT Invasion Part 2, Ruby Riott and
SmackDown copies Raw's homework.
yeah,
That's exactly what happened.
pretty much.
You get alternative punk chick, pretty
Ruby
blonde,
Riott. Yep.
and tough fighter.
Yep.
Right out there, and I think this is writing out Becky for a while because Becky's supposed to be going off to do the Marine number 684 with the Miz.
Now
I think
the
this is
difference
6.
before.
6 or 7. Too many.
I think it's
Yeah.
6. The difference is, and there is a huge difference, in the Raw version of this, they invaded a fatal 4-way, and then they beat up the champ in the back.
And Paige
This time,
is known, so like
Right.
they
she gets
beat
a
up
pop.
they beat up the roster in the back, and then they invaded the champion or the one-on-one match.
Right.
So totally different things.
Ruby got a bit of a pop. The crowd seemed to have some idea from NXT.
Yeah.
Liv is... it's weird to me that they brought Liv Morgan up.
I don't know who the fuck either one of those two are.
Okay, so
Ruby
Liv...
Riott.
I know who Ruby Riott
Okay.
is.
Liv was dating Enzo for a long time, and her gimmick is that she's Carmella version 2.0. Like, she's
In the
just
same way that like Carmella was with Big Cass.
Right. Yeah, Liv was dating Enzo. And she's just a Jersey chick. She's fine in the ring. Maybe she's as good as Carmella in the ring, which isn't, saying a whole lot.
What stinks about this is I think the Raw roster got the better of the shake on this in all 3 accounts, and it kind of just makes me sad because Raw's going to continue to have a better women's division and SmackDown's going to continue to have Charlotte and.
Well, see, I don't know. If they actually book Ruby, okay, they'll do fine. Because Ruby she was fine in NXT, but again, she's got 15 years under her belt on the indie circuit, so you can't knock that. And she can actually go. She's short. I mean, she's Liv Morgan size. She's tiny for the female roster, and Charlotte's gonna dwarf her. But I would love to see that match. It's just got to be booked right.
Charlotte's a goddamn monster.
She sure as shit is.
We had the Hype Bros falling apart as the Bludgeon Brothers show up.
They sure do.
And show up they do.
Don't stop. Stop showing. They're one time already. I stopped showing up. I'm done with this gimmick.
Man,
already.
I'm fine. I'm
done.
fine with that ring work though.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that Rowan and Harper could do it. I don't. You don't need to like convince me that they can wrestle.
Look, here's what I say.
I did like
as
the new
long as they
finisher.
don't fucking talk ever, I'm 100% okay with it.
They were fine as well.
What if the Hammers talk?
Oh man, I would be so in.
Hey, just stop taking them away from Wyatt. You're hurting them. You're hurting Wyatt. You're hurting me. Stop.
Other than the ring work, probably the best part about this is Bray Wyatt tweeted pretty much as they were debuting.
Come home.
Come home.
Come on, little fireflies.
When we get to it later, Brian's
We'll
got
get
good
to our fantasy booking because I
for
actually
Wyatt,
don't have a joke for a
and
change.
it's real good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done. They're stupid
So yeah,
people.
I mean, it was a squash match. It serves two purposes. They did like a WWE Network or like Twitter only exclusive of like the Hype Bros falling out kind of. You know that thing that they do that like once they lose they're really pissed off at each other, and then they make out or jerk off or whatever it is.
In their defense, if I had to hang out with someone whose entire gimmick was being best friends with Rob Gronkowski, I would be pissed off all the fucking time too. I would just not want to be part of that team.
AJ cuts a promo with Jinder. Jinder's on a screen.
There's a Street Fighter villain. What the fuck?
He really is. It's great.
I'm not wrong. Jinder Mahal is a Street Fighter villain.
First off, Jinder is not a Street Fighter villain. He laid out exactly what he was. Jinder Mahal is the Beastmaster.
The Beastmaster. That's what it is. Yeah.
Ugh.
Which I'm pretty sure is a horrible 80s movie.
Yes.
Beastmaster.
Right?
I think it was a TV show.
Oh.
Either way, it was fucking
not- yeah.
awful. What a terrible thing.
Guess we're going to continue to do this for a while, at least until Clash of Champions.
Right. So now we at least have an idea of where this is going.
Yeah. So Jinder's going to get put down at Clash of Champions, and we're going to hate.
God,
everything.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope that they just let AJ hold on to the belt, or let him hold on to the belt for a little while because he's good with it. He fits.
AJ knock for WrestleMania.
I don't really want to talk about that fucking thing anymore. You had Charlotte Flair versus Natalya. That was when Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan all came out in their second part of their invasion so that they could tie up the Raw Women's Division.
They all hit their finishers on Charlotte.
Yeah.
I wonder what they did backstage to charge them up.
I don't know.
Just let your imaginations run wild there for a minute. All right.
All right. So then we had
Just hit each other. Just jabs over and over.
So we had the lumberjack match. Lumberjack match was a lot of fun. We had a couple spots where like people were falling out of the ring and then being pushed back in.
Yep.
There was one great spot where Sammy falls out of the ring and tries to run away, and then all the
crowd surfing back.
Roster crowd surfs him back into the ring,
which fits the ska gimmick very well.
Yeah. Really, the best thing about this is that it turns into like a brawl for all when I think it's like Corbin goes to hit somebody but hits Rude instead.
Oof.
And then everyone starts hitting everyone. And then they go from outside the ring to everyone goes inside the ring. It all culminates to Sammy gets the roll up on Kofi.
Yep.
And 1, 2, 3 match is over.
I had to watch 2 New Day matches in a matter of like 72 hours, and I just...
It is more New Day than you want. So
please no.
Kevin Cowers runs away to the backstage to beg to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan says he was never going to fire them anyway because I think we're building up to a big Daniel Bryan thing, you guys.
I could be into that.
You think Bryan might?
I think
be
that they
behind,
might
like Kevin and Sammy in some way. Like he might be like Shane, you're actually being kind of an asshole.
Right.
I think so. I think that's what they're building to.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to see either a heel turn for for Bryan, or you're going to see a double turn with Kevin and Sammy going face and Shane going heel.
I'd be fine either way.
Yeah,
I
either
want
one
the
of them
heel
is
turn
good.
for Bryan, and I want Bryan to team up with Sammy and Kevin, and then do a 3, and then do like a 6-man tag with Shane and like his 2 jerk offs. I don't know. Whoever
He
picks.
would just do, or it would be like a
I want
4-on-3 with
The New Day
Shane and the New Day.
Yeah, because he loves himself some fucking New Day.
Yep.
He's like the only person.
Well, it's they
He's
all
like,
dance.
they sell shirts, you guys.
I mean, Shane's gimmick is he just kind of dances.
I want it to be like Shane, a kendo stick, and a garbage can as his tag
But
partners.
they put the really big googly eyes on the garbage can.
Yeah.
All right. We burned through all the main roster stuff. Let's have some fun, you guys.
Oh, please.
I want to do mine last. You guys both had something that you said.
Okay.
Oh, mine was about as deep as a puddle of water. But okay, we can do this.
Mine's goofy as shit, and I'm going to book it on the fly because I barely got past this. So, since Roman is now your Intercontinental Champion, and they've been building up good old Elias, I would like to see Elias just as this very brooding, serious character. I'd like to see him challenge Roman, and I want it to be a month-long program, and I want it to be like. I want him to be as oblivious to himself as possible. So I want Elias every week to come out with a slightly smaller guitar.
Noticeable enough, like by us, but just like to where he might not.
Right.
Okay.
So we're talking like the end of the month. He's coming out with like a ukulele.
Exactly. Like that's where I want it to end. And I want him because Roman's going to have to drop the belt before they give it to before they have him eat Braun.
Right.
Not Braun, Brock. So
I don't
And
know.
if
Give them
they've
both
given-
belts, fuck it.
yeah.
If they're willing
Please,
to
no.
if they're willing to give fucking Jeff Jarrett the Intercontinental
Yeah.
belt, then they can
Give it to
definitely
Elias.
give it to Elias.
And so I want Elias to win that match against the big dog with a ukulele shot to the head. Believe that. Oh, yes, sir. 1, 2, 3. Elias is your new Intercontinental Champion with a ukulele shot. Maybe the first ukulele shot in all of professional wrestling.
That's great.
That's what I need.
I love it.
I don't know. I just want Enzo to accompany Braun. I want Enzo. I want them to replace Braun with replace Big Cass with Braun, but act like nothing happened. Have Enzo do the exact same promo. Come out with Braun. Have Braun look exactly like he looked during the Survivor Series thing. Like he doesn't understand where he is or what happened. Have him take like a bump or something like that, so he doesn't know what's going on. And then just, I don't know, maybe have him be his valet. Maybe put the Cruiserweight Championship on Braun. We've got a lot of options here, is what I'm saying.
Give Braun a leopard pattern on those pants.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like start having him do his hair up kind of weird
Yes.
and like dyeing his beard.
I'd be so happy with that.
I think another one that we got. I don't know if I can do my hair one. I'll do my hair one maybe a little bit later. 'Cause I
I
haven't
feel
got a
like
good
your
one.
hair one deserves some time and build.
Yeah.
This match or this week's going a little bit long because we have 2 pay-per-views to cover. Next week we'll take some time. We'll really stew over.
I've got a good
you've been
Asuka
working
one
on.
for you guys next week.
Okay.
So-
all right.
That
All
I've
right.
been talking about for like 4 weeks now.
So they're having Bray Wyatt do some great stuff on Twitter with Come Home, and I really want them to keep doing this until they bring him back.
Sure.
Because here's where they failed with Bray Wyatt.
Everywhere.
The problem with Bray Wyatt is that he makes a lot of sense as a charismatic cult leader, but he makes no sense as an actual monster creature with or who is possessed. That's stupid. We all agree that that's stupid.
Yeah, drop
that's
that.
as dumb as saying that Finn Balor becomes a literal demon whenever he paints himself up.
Right.
So basically, they were building to the worst of 2 gimmicks
It
that
was
they
not
possibly
good.
could have. What they need to do is Bray needs a new Wyatt family. And as much as I would love for it to be the Bludgeon Brothers, they've probably spent a lot of money on foam hammers and and all those cameras that they smashed.
Oh man, foam hammers.
So they're going to be sticking around in SmackDown at least until they cannot win the belt to the Usos.
Right.
But there is a group who is now missing their charismatic leader. Because the Miz-tourage is left high and dry with no Miz. You can't have a Miz-tourage with no Miz. So here's my idea.
Oh my God, Bo Dallas. I just connected this.
Yup.
So here's my idea.
Bray
You
tourage.
have Bray Wyatt trying to build up his family because he realizes that that a leader is useless without followers.
Yeah.
And trying to bring more family into his flock, bring more into his fold. And I think that he's going to do it as passively aggressively as possible by letting these two idiots know how useless they are without a leader to guide them. And I think that it's going to go exactly as we imagine. Bo Dallas is going to jump in hook, line, and sinker while Curtis Axel tries to pull him back because this doesn't look like a good idea, you guys.
Oh, man.
So we're going to see a slow evolution where they come out in their suits to there's maybe dropping the coat. Maybe Bo Dallas loses another 2 or 3 buttons on his shirt that doesn't go all the way up. to eventually coming out looking like hobos. You know, not believable in the same way that Rowan and Harper do. But
They've got it down.
effectively bringing in 2 new Stooges who are obviously not going to be as good as the original because how could they be? So that I think in my dream scenario, you would just bring the Bludgeon Brothers back and have them take their rightful spot in the family. Or maybe just incorporate all of them and, you know...
Have a proper cult.
And have a proper cult.
Yeah, I think you should grow the Wyatt family first off. He needs to be the leader of a large stable, not just a 3-man stable. He needs to be the leader of a large... Like, they were doing the right thing
in the same way that they were
Braun.
doing the ministry... Or in the same way that they did the ministry with Undertaker back in 99.
Yeah. Right.
Where it started out pretty big. And it just grew to massive.
Right.
Like, too many people.
They need to do that with Bray, and I also think they need to decide what they want to do with Bray in terms of he has this like sinister brooding side, and he also has this like laughing like I don't want to say joking, but like mocking side, and I really do think they need to go more brooding and sinister and like ruthless with him. But same charisma, but him laughing and like ha 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 and like flipping back and doing like the weird shit in the ring doesn't really like because you're gonna drop the whole possessed thing. Just go crazy,
right?
Crazy, ruthless, sinister.
Because the whole point of the cult leader gimmick is he claims to be a god, but he's not.
Yeah.
So trying to force that he is onto him really just takes away from everything that made him great to begin with.
Yeah.
But I also think that like the ministry was able to go over right away because it's Undertaker. You don't have that same benefit with Bray Wyatt. The reality is that he was in NXT in the early years of NXT.
Right.
So the WWE fans didn't really have the time to understand who this character was before you
could go
put them together.
Entirely back to basics with Bray and do the exact same gimmick that they did with him in NXT.
That's what they need to do.
To the T, and I think it would work. It would absolutely work.
Taker had about 8 years of protected booking before we ever got a ministry.
Exactly.
Bray has had no years of protected booking, period.
He's had so much non-protected booking. I think he has negative protected
every moment that could have been a great moment in the career of Bray Wyatt always is undercut somehow.
Right.
Always.
Right.
And that's not planning for the future. That Undertaker's not going to be around forever. Undertaker may not ever be around again. And so
hopefully he'll never be. Not to say I don't, but like,
sure.
No, here's the thing.
The man shouldn't come back
before
at this
you finish
point.
that sentence. Yeah. Everyone at this table loves Undertaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he just doesn't look good anymore.
No.
He's done. He left his gimmick in the ring. He left. He put his arm up when he was leaving. The bell tolled. The gong rung. He's done. Taker has been done. Taker's done.
If The Undertaker were to come back for literally any reason, The Undertaker needs to come back, eat a Sister Abigail, and never fucking show up again. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean that in a passing the torch way of you take your big supernatural character, it's done now, feed it to the one that you might have for the next 20 years.
Right.
Fix
'Cause,
that.
I mean, it goes without saying that Taker's gimmick should have never worked, or at least not have worked for that long.
Right.
The least that you can do is try to leave some legitimacy to someone who's trying to do something just as extreme.
Sure.
I mean, you fed him to Roman. You can at least fucking do Bray this solid. But considering he was the middle W in the L sandwich that was Brock and Roman,
Yeah.
it won't happen.
Yeah.
You want to really put Bray over. You build him up as having this big cult. Have him eat the Undertaker for that last 5 minutes that the Undertaker has. Have him bring in the other sort of darker character legends. Bring Raw 25's coming up. Have Jake the Snake Roberts come out and have Bray Wyatt put him down.
Oh, that would be great, especially because Jake the Snake has the whole biblical thing going.
Exactly. You bring out you get Raven to come in for one spot. I don't care what it is. I love Raven.
I don't need him to say anything. He'll speak forever.
Exactly.
But he's not going to say anything.
Bring Raven in for one moment.
If Sting could take a bump,
Have Bray eat him.
I'd feed Sting to him.
Sure, absolutely. You take all these sort of darkness characters,
Right.
give them to Bray. Use it to Bray. You're building up Bray's power, whatever you want to call it. If Strowman isn't the one who puts Kane on his back and sends him off to libertarian land, let it be Bray Wyatt, because that just makes sense.
Right. And it makes everybody look better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe, like, comment.
Tell your friends.
Tell
Leave
your
reviews
friends.
on your app, on whatever you're accessing. Even if you're doing it from the website, I'm pretty sure you can comment on there, so you can do
Yes.
it there.
Reviews and ratings are the easiest way to get us over. That's just the reality. We're not paying for any advertisement. We're just going for word of mouth. We absolutely want to reach more people. If you like us, please share us. We appreciate it more than anything else. Nicky Boy over here has a book that debuted today.
It came out today, and you can buy it. And if you do that, that means I make money. If I make money, eventually I can quit my day job and just watch and consume more wrestling so that I have more useless factoids to give to you on this podcast that you love.
So please go
I'm
find.
convinced. I'm buying 50 copies.
Yes!
Go find In Between Days by Nick Desjardins. We will have links on all of our social media, wherever you can find us. We appreciate it so much. Please let everybody know. And for now, good night, you marks.